Today we have Madoda, who is a South African participating to the Baraza 2022, and we want to basically speak about the situation that's been growing in South Africa and in Africa, because sometimes you think it's just an isolated case, but it's not. I believe that in other countries we got such a form also of nationalism, extreme nationalism, who push to some movement to emerge. And today we will focus on the phenomenon of xenophobia in South Africa, and for that we have Monsieur, I would say Monsieur, Papa, Tate. So welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So we want to know what is your take on the current situation of South Africa in terms of xenophobia, what basically affect a lot of the economy and the perception amongst us, the rest of Africa, to come to South Africa and to have a clear view and opinion about this beautiful country.
Thank you very much, Africa Trust, and also I appreciate the opportunity to participate in the 2022 Baraza. The issue of xenophobia, it's actually a serious problem that cannot be denied exists in South Africa. But I also think that it's also something that needs to be unpacked a bit.
Yes, yes.
And also be explained, so as not we fall into a trap of the media that's sensationalizing it.
Exactly.
The issue is that since 1994, that's my take, when we liberated South Africa, there has been quite a lot of promises that were made to mainly black South Africans about service delivery and how things will change for the better.
Yes.
Now that apartheid has come to an end. Now 1994 is now 2022, and majority of South Africans are completely disappointed with the way things have turned out. There are some people who are even saying that things have gone even worse than they were pre-1994.
Yes.
Service delivery in the so-called dispensation and an ANC-led government has become an embarrassment.
Yes.
People don't have water. 13 million people don't have jobs. Houses have been built, but they are now cracking. There's a big shortage of housing in South Africa. The situation of women has become terrible. Gender-based violence has become a norm, and people are frustrated.
Yes.
They are frustrated with service delivery. But now you see the thing with leaders, you know, when they have a problem, they try to divert the attention away from themselves. They're looking now for a scapegoat.
Yes.
It is very unfortunate that now the scapegoat will always be that guy that comes from outside. Now what I don't understand, and then the anger of the South African now that get misdirected. And I think that we need to also to understand that what the South Africans are actually fighting for is for service delivery. And when you try to explain that the fact that we don't have service delivery is because of our brothers and sisters from Africa, it makes absolutely no sense. Because we had problems before. Even if, theoretically speaking, we can say our brothers and sisters from Africa must go back where they come from, will there be jobs?
No, I don't think so.
Will crime come to an end?
I don't think so.
Will drugs disappear? Will women abuse disappear? So it's actually an excuse and also a trick that the leadership has found in terms of this xenophobia to divert the attention away from themselves. But there's a narrative. There's a narrative that comes from below, and people are not stupid. And people know that this so-called guy from outside cannot be a guy from outside. How can someone from Africa be an outsider in Africa?
In Africa.
And this so-called South Africa country, we never drew the borders. Someone else from outside drew the borders and called this South Africa. Zimbabwe, we never drew the borders. Nigeria, we never drew those borders. So how can someone who's in this continent, born in this continent, become
A foreigner.
a foreigner? And there another narrative that says why is it that when people talk about xenophobia, it's poor Africans?
Yes.
What about the Italians?
Who are here, the Greek and others.
The Greeks and the Spaniards.
Yes, French.
And the French and so on. And then you can see this is a political ploy. But what we need to have is a complete conversation. We must also remind South Africans. The problem with South Africans is also a positionality. The country is really at the tip of Africa. And apartheid did not do favors for us by partitioning us away from Africa. In fact, apartheid spent all its time bombing the Southern African countries, becoming absolutely an enemy to Africa, and kept Africans away from Africa.
Yes.
And South Africans, now that South Africa is part of Africa, we also need to understand that we now must join Africa.
Yeah, as a brotherhood,
As a brotherhood.
a country, as a nation.
I will tell you, many of African brothers have not moved out of South Africa to go to another African country. You will find that some of the brothers and sisters have gone to Europe, but you ask them, have you been to Uganda? No.
Never.
Have you been to Zambia? No.
Never.
But we've been to Europe 15
Of course,
times.
they even know the capitals. And
They even know the capitals. So it's a process. It's going to be a process, but we as South Africans, first we need to deal with our own problems and understand where these problems are emanating from. They are emanating from our own internal processes. They are not emanating from an outsider. The problem of service delivery, the problem of disappointment with the ANC, we must deal with it ourselves. And when we deal with that ourselves, then we must remember the solidarity we got from Africans. When the days were dark, when we had to go to
other countries.
to other countries,
Yes.
and the support and the solidarity we got from other countries, which we seem to have forgotten now. But it's also something that can be brought back.
Yes.
But the leadership has a lot of a role to play.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's failing us.
Yeah, because we also don't understand where are those archives in terms of the movement of fellow South Africans during the fight against apartheid. Is it deliberately that the archive have been chased away from the national TV? There is no effort of maybe the government to show South African that Africa did assist in the process of the liberation. That is all the question that many people ask themselves, because when we watch the program here, there is no reminder of the Ubuntu that Africa offered to South Africa, and we see more about the investment from the USA and other countries, but we don't remind how African use and work together to basically abolish such horrible situation like apartheid. So will you say that is part of the plan or is premeditated? What's happening on this level?
Look, there is a story that's not being told here.
Yes.
There is a story that's not being told here. That needs to be amplified. South Africans have not forgotten what Africa has done for us. There might be a change of generation of youngsters who were not there at that time, but knowledge gets passed.
Yes.
But there's also a story that is not being told, a story of integration since 1994.
Yes.
When our African brothers came to South Africa, there's been quite a lot of integration. There's been intermarriages.
Yes.
There's been a situation where many of the African brothers who have come to South Africa since 1994 have become South Africans.
Yes, there is a lot.
They've gotten integrated in our communities, and you cannot tell.
Yeah.
You cannot tell until the guy tells you, no, but I'm from another country. But you speak
properly integrated.
The language, you speak properly, you stay here, you've got kids that
are basically South African.
Basically South African. So there's a process of Africa integrating with South Africa, but the narrators, the media, underplays that, and then they overplay the problem of xenophobia,
Yes.
which actually is a problem. It must not be denied. But it's a problem that it's South Africans who are saying, we've been waiting for service delivery.
Yes.
And the leader says, we've been delivering to you, but it's the guy from outside that steals the delivery.
Yes.
And no one has been saying, but that's a lie.
Yes, no one is against that and can point finger and say, but that is a lie. Like you say, because even though they go in tomorrow, will it fix the work situation? Will it fix the level of crime?
No, it
Yes.
won't.
So if you have to say, because we're wrapping now, if you have to say something for the continent in terms of South Africa, what will you say to them?
Yeah, to the continent, I would like to say the continent must not give up on South Africa.
Yeah.
Precisely because there's a lot that Africa can benefit from South Africa.
A lot.
And there's a lot that South Africa can benefit from Africa. And once we figure that one out, this continent will never be stopped.
Again. Yes.
But the problem is that the enemy does not want us
To federate.
to figure it. And the enemy does not want us to unite. Because we've learned this under apartheid. We keep them divided so that we can rule them.
And yeah.
So what I can say to Africa is that there is a process of South Africa integrating itself to Africa.
Yes.
Let's focus on that.
That.
There is no way you can stop African brothers from coming to the tip of Africa. There's no way.
There's no.
You can come up with your own theories. You cannot stop. It's natural. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. But we must just learn to know that this is the future.
Yeah, that is the future, and Africa as one will be the greatest continent in the world. And Nyabonga, Siabonga. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.